Hello, everybody! Welcome back to another AEW Dynamite recap where I promise you that no dud bombs will go off. However, I cannot promise you that the power won't go out because where we live, there's been power outages all over today, and yeah, so we can't promise this show will actually finish all the way through.
Go without a hitch.
But we'll do our best as always. One of us anyway, but yeah. So how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. A lot better than the finale of Revolution.
Oh, yeah. So before we get into that thunder,
yeah, it is.
Is that Thor outside your house?
Yeah, I guess so. Jeez.
Okay, cool. Anyway, shall we talk about the ending to Revolution before we get into the Dynamite recap?
We probably should, because a lot of this won't make sense to the viewers at home if we don't bring up what happened at Revolution.
Okay, so at the end of Revolution, Kenny Omega wins with the help of the Good Brothers. They beat up Jon Moxley. They tie him up, and then the countdown for the big explosion starts coming down. And Kenny and the Good Brothers are like, ah, Jon Moxley's in the ring. He's going to get blown to smithereens. And so, lo and behold, Eddie Kingston comes out. And he comes out to save his good old buddy, Jon Moxley. And he tries to get Moxley out of the ring. But Moxley's dead weight. And the countdown's coming down. It's ticking down. And so, with nothing left to do, no way out, Eddie just lies on Moxley. And then a couple sparklers and a little bit of smoke come out of the ring at the end of the countdown, and largely nothing happens. I'm sure everyone has seen it, and if you haven't, you can go on the internet, you can watch it. So people obviously were very upset and not having it, which is understandable. And everybody's coming up with their own theories as to what happened and what they should do now. Did you see it? Because we didn't watch the pay-per-view because we were too busy. But
I saw it, so I remember to jump on my phone after I had a free moment that night, and I was like, oh crap, let me see what happened at Revolution because I want to see what happened. And the biggest thing, unfortunately, was the botched finale. Yeah, and I watched it while it was up because I guess AEW has started issuing takedown notices for a lot of people that had that clip.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is weird because they didn't really issue too many takedown notices for anything else from Revolution, but only really the finale. So it seems like they want to kind of sweep that under the rug. There's been a lot of controversy about that. If you go to the Ollie,
understandable.
Yeah,
if they don't want it to be all over the place.
It's true. But at some point you just have to go. You just have to go into it. You know what I mean? Like you just have to shift the wind and just take it. Right?
Yeah.
You can't bury this. It's the internet. This day and age, people are gonna remember.
Yeah. I mean, you can't. I mean, once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't get rid of everything on the internet. No,
Yes.
If it's not going to be on YouTube, it's going to be on Twitter, and if it's not going to be on Twitter, it's going to be on Instagram, and if it's not on, if you take it down there, it's going to be on somewhere. It's going to be somewhere. So, whatever. Yeah. But here's but here's my whole thing with this. Okay. If you paid $50, $60 for this and you wanted a big ass explosion and you didn't get it and you're mad, okay, cool. That's fine. So as far as I could tell from watching, what happened on the internet, and especially Jon Moxley got on the mic after the show was over and pretty much said, Kenny can't build a bomb for shit or whatever. But my whole thing is, everybody's going off like, oh, they need to explain it this, Eddie, it was this, and this was blah, 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 blah. So do you have if you were Tony Khan, did you come up with something that you think, here's how do we explain this away? Did you come up with your own explanation in your own mind?
No, I actually really didn't. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
I mean, other than what he said, I mean, I would have said basically, I would have gone into it like he did. I wouldn't really said anything differently, I guess is what you're asking.
Yeah. So there's a very, very, very simple explanation as to what they could do. They've got, Kingston couldn't see and blah blah blah, and he thought, and he can just say like he was trying to. It's like the most easiest solution is to just have Kingston say, "Hey, look, idiots! I didn't know if that was the only bomb. There could have been 2 bombs, or 3 bombs, or 5,000 bombs. How the hell am I supposed to know how many bombs are gonna go off? So that's why I stayed lying on Jon Moxley." Wouldn't that just cut it already?
Yeah, but you asked about Tony Khan's response.
No, but I mean, like, no, I'm just saying, like, this is what their response could have been, right?
Okay, I see.
Tony Khan could have just said, well, Eddie will explain himself, and Eddie can just say, look, I didn't know if there was only 1 bomb. Like, how the hell do I know, right? One bomb went off. I didn't know how big it was. I was trying to protect Moxley, and I continued to protect him because, I didn't know if there was another one. I mean, put yourself in, like, let's just say, hopefully this doesn't ever happen to anybody, but say you're in a real life situation where a bomb goes off. Are you just, after the first bomb goes off, are you just going to stand up and be like, okay, let's go? Right? You have no idea if another bomb is coming or not. So wouldn't you still, like, seek shelter until, it's for sure somebody the rescue teams come or whatever, so that it's for sure there's no other bombs? I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one.
In all honesty, I think everybody's making too big a deal out of it. I don't really care. In all honesty, like it was a botch. There's no doubt about it, but it didn't take away from the match.
Yeah.
I think the match was excellent.
There's a lot of things. People are saying, yeah, I'm not gonna watch AEW anymore
because of this.
It's like, well, if you want reasons to not watch AEW, then this Dynamite was the show for you. So shall we get into it? And let's
make the transition.
Before we get into it, just let me say, there was a lot of things I liked about this show, and there was a lot of things I fucking hated about this show. So if I go into nitpick bitch fest mode here, I do apologize, but not really, because there were some things that really, really bothered me in this match. Okay? So here we go.
Dynamite.
Huh?
You said match. You mean this Dynamite?
This Dynamite, yeah.
Yeah.
So AEW Dynamite recap, March 10, 2021. And we start off with Rey Fenix versus Matt Jackson. What did you think of this one?
This is a great opener. This is a great match. Both guys, high flyers, I guess Matt hasn't worked a singles match in forever, and they were saying, but you wouldn't know it by watching this. It was a great back and forth, some cool moves.
Yeah.
There was one sequence that was just, I'm sure you'll get into it. There was one sequence that was pretty badass where they were trading kicks towards the end, and I was like, holy shit, that was cool.
So this
great opener.
Yeah. So this match was very good. I liked it a lot. However, there were a few things that I really didn't like about this match, none of which are Rey Fenix or Matt Jackson's fault, but I'll talk about that here. So even before the match starts, we've got dueling chants for Fenix and Matt Jackson, and we see Frankie and Chris Daniels in the stands nodding approvingly, And Excalibur notes that SCU is the #1 ranked tag team. So this is the first irritating thing of the night. Nitpicky, but I'm going to say it anyway. If they're the #1 ranked tag team, why are they not getting a title shot? And at the same time, Fenix and Pac won this battle royal, and they're getting the title shot, right? So why aren't they the #1 ranked tag team then for winning the battle royal? It's like, if I'm an AEW wrestler, what the hell do I need? What's the point of becoming rank 1? Because I can't get a title shot. I got to win a battle royal to get a title shot. So what's the point? And if I'm an AEW wrestler and I win the battle royal, I'm like, well, what the hell? Why am I not ranked #1? I just won the battle royal. I beat every damn tag team in the division in the same night, except for, the Young Bucks and MJF and Jericho. Why the hell am I not ranked 1? It's ridiculously stupid.
I get what you're saying, but it might have been almost semantics, maybe a slip of the tongue. Maybe they shouldn't have called them #1 contenders, because later on
that's what Excalibur said, man.
No, I get that. But later on they said that SCU will face the winner of not Lucha Brothers, Death Triangle versus Young Bucks.
Oh, did they say that?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, I didn't catch that part, so I take it back. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's just like, what the hell is this?
But you're
So
right. It's weird that they would say number one contenders when technically Ray and Pac are number one contenders.
yeah, they
But
won the battle royal.
there was a follow up to that. So
Okay,
yeah.
that's
Okay.
fine then. I didn't hear that part. My bad, but not really. But we'll get more into it. So they start off kind of slow. Phoenix is getting the better of it early on, and then the match starts to pick up when Phoenix tries a top rope hurricanrana, but Matt counters it into a sit out powerbomb. And then the crowd is already chanting, "This is awesome." This is another part that started pissing me off. We're like barely 2 minutes into this match, and they're chanting, "This is awesome." It's like, did you guys just come to the show just so you could chant "This is awesome"? Like, wait till the match is awesome because it's Rey Fenix and Matt Jackson. It will be awesome, but not now. Just fucking wait. So, Matt does a sharpshooter, and JR asks, is it a sharpshooter or is it a scorpion deathlock? And Shivani says, well, when Sting does it, it's a scorpion deathlock. And then Excalibur, Mr. Know-It-All, comes in and says, well, it's actually blah, blah, blah. What I don't know the Japanese name for it, but was invented by Riki Choshu. So, yeah. Anyway, Phoenix is selling his... So when we get back from the breaks, Phoenix is selling his back. He can't lift Matt. He does hit Matt with a roll-through cutter. Then Matt hits a destroyer. Top rope elbow, only gets 2. And this is the part where you were talking about. They go super fast pace, crazy counter this, counter that, kick to the face, counter, kick. So they do a bunch of that. Both end up getting kicks to the other guy's face, and both men are down. And then out of nowhere, Phoenix hits the fire driver and gets the 1, 2, 3. That was excellent. Very good. Very good opener. Very good match to start off Dynamite.
Yeah.
All my nitpicky stuffs were announcing and the crowd, but Rey Fenix and Matt Jackson, awesome.
I gotta say, that was the match
else.
of the night, right? That had to be the match of the night,
right? Did anything?
Scorpio
and Darby.
Scorpio and Darby was good too. Yeah, it's tough. Tough call.
Scorpio and Darby, both of them were very, very good.
Yeah.
We'll get to that though. So we've got the lineup for tonight. Darby Allin is going to take on Scorpio title, defending the TNT title. Darby is defending the TNT title. We've got a 6 women's tag match. Brit, Maki Itoh, and Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida, Ryo Mizunami, and Thunder Rosa. The icon Sting appears live. So he's not going to call out Team Taz, and he's not going to have an announcement. He's just going to appear live. Okay? Ethan Page versus Lee Johnson. And we'll hear from Christian Cage, because I guess he's stealing Sting's gimmick. Just coming out. The Inner Circle War Council and the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes is in action. But first, we hear from Kingston and Mox. And at the beginning of this, Moxley is pretending to be dead on the sofa. I don't know if that was intentional or what that was. It's got to be intentional because it was just great. Do you have anything you want to say about this before I recap it?
This is awesome. Every time Moxley's on screen doing a promo, he's excellent. Every time just about every time Kingston's on screen, he's excellent. And the way that Kingston was able to really sell what happened on Sunday, I got to give that guy credit because I believed him. I believed him 100%. And I mean, AEW must be thanking their lucky stars. They got somebody like Eddie Kingston that can pull that off and make it sound believable.
Yep.
Because they could have fucked that up very easily.
Yep.
For being a real world turn on the events of what happened on Sunday, he did a pretty good job explaining it. So
yeah,
give him all the credit in the world for that. Both of them were great. I'll let you get into that though.
So yeah, I thought it was before I talk about what exactly he said, but yeah, I thought it was a good enough explanation. I wasn't one of those people who was outraged. It was like, just give me something and I'll be fine with it. So yeah, this was fine. But Eddie's talking. He says, this is on me. But when I heard the bombs go off, I had a flashback to his anxiety from before when he was in jail waiting for court and he was going to Rikers and everything went black. And he says, that's what happened. And he says, Kenny, you think this is a video game? You think you're the Joker? And at this point I was like, what? He's the Joker? But then Moxley explains it. He says, yeah, I think he really wanted to blow me up. And Eddie's like, well, yeah, you are Batman. So I was like, oh, okay. So Kenny says, well, no wonder it was a dud. Impact paid for the bomb. He asked Kenny if when he bought the bomb, did it say Acme on the package? And then, of course, in typical AEW fashion, they turned this around into a positive. Moxley is sporting the barbed wire death match, and all I got is this lousy T-shirt, which I'm sure is up on AEW shopaew.com right as we
Top
speak.
seller this week. Top seller this
Oh,
week.
is it? You already looked it up?
Yeah, I already looked it up.
No doubt about it. So, they always find a way to bring it back around and make some money. So, hats off to AEW. And, Moxley is upset he didn't get his world title back, but he's got his old drinking buddy back. And he says, I knew that wasn't the real you, Eddie. And they go into buddy cop mode, arguing back and forth with each other. And then
Tango and Cash here.
Yeah, and then Eddie says, well, Kenny, if you're going to flash a weapon, or was it Mox who said this? If you're going to flash a weapon, you better use it. And that's the end of that. So,
yeah, beautiful.
Cody versus a guy.
Cody versus a guy.
Do I need to ask you what you thought of this match, or can I just finish it? Because if I ask you, it's going to take longer than the match itself.
Match of the night.
Yeah, so Cody versus a guy. He beat him up. He put on the figure 4, and that was it. Cody Rhodes won. So did you notice this too, by the way? After the match, Shivani comes down for an interview. And I'm thinking to myself, is there anybody else in this company who gets an interview after every match?
Other than Cody?
Yeah. Every time he has a match, he has an interview.
Kenny, well, heel Kenny, right? Heel Kenny gets a...
Does he?
I want to say heel Kenny. Maybe not. I don't know. He hasn't had many matches as a heel, but I could have swore he was on the mic pretty much after every heel match, but could be wrong.
Maybe.
He's only had a few. So, but you're right. Cody's on the mic every match, man.
Yeah. So, before he even starts talking, though, Penta interrupts. He was at the Spanish announce desk, and he gets Alex to interpret, and he says that Penta is 1,000 times better than you, and if Cody is the Prince of Pro Wrestling, then Penta is the Lord of Lucha Libre. And there's a Lucha Libre chant, and it's awesome. And Penta says in English, at Revolution, you lost. Hey, Cody. I don't know. English is not his first language, obviously. And then he talks to, he whispers into Alex's ear for like all of 1 second. And then Alex has like this whole speech about what he just said. He's like, yeah, Penta says you're lucky that he didn't focus on hurting your arm more, because then you wouldn't be able to pick up your baby girl. And Cody does not like this at all. So he jumps into the crowd and they brawl and they get broken up. So this was cool. This is gonna maybe sets up Cody versus Penta, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. You mentioned a good point about Penta was talking to Alex for all of 2 seconds, and he came up with this whole paragraph.
And he's like, oh, so yeah, he said this, he said that. He's just like, okay.
3 sentences worth of stuff. It would have been... I know this is not what happened, but it would have been so good if Penta's like, I didn't say that.
Wait, whoa, dude! Like,
Alex like playing the bad guy.
I just said I want a match, and this Alex guy is the one. He's the one starting shit, That would be good.
I didn't say that.
But here we go. The first. I want to stop watching AEW moment of the night. Chuck and Orange are at an arcade. Chuck is bitching about Miro. I'm supposed to think this is the good guy for some reason. He's just crying about Miro, and he begs for one more match. Meanwhile, I'm begging them to not have another match.
To end this feud, I wish. Please. I thought it would be over after Revolution.
Like, they didn't... Okay. So he says, if I lose... Chuck says, if he loses, he'll be his butler for life. But Orange had a good idea. He says they'll put video games around the ring and put your head through it. And then Orange says, and then we break you. Like I break your friend. No, he doesn't say that, but it actually would have been good if he said that. But more?
Yeah.
More of this? Why?
I like the Orange's line at the end. That was about it. Although it was kind of funny when Chuck said, "We've been at this for far too long." It's like, yeah,
Yeah, you
no duh,
have.
yeah. And it's pretty obvious with the stipulation, right? That there's no way that Chuck is gonna lose this.
You know
I
what they
mean, we know
need? They need
wrestling.
like every time their segments show up, they need like lamb chop singing. This is the feud that will never end. This is the feud that never ends. You don't know that song?
Oh,
Oh my
lamb
god.
chop.
Lamb
What?
chop from Lamb Chop's play along. You don't know what Lamb Chop's play along is?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Holy Toledo, Batman. But
Do I have to look
okay.
this up? Oh my god, what is this? Sounds horrible.
Go after this, go listen to the song that never ends.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So,
I know what you're talking about now.
next up, Tony, or did you want to say anything else about this?
I can't wait for the next match. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay. So Tony is out there and he announces that this is Sting. And Sting comes out and says, Darby is a dangerous man. And I'm thinking, well, I got to hear what Team Taz thinks about all of this. But unfortunately, we never find out what Team Taz thinks about this because out comes Lance Archer. And he goes into Merovingian from the Matrix mode. And he says, if you don't ever take time, how can you have time? And he doesn't need a ladder match to be the face of the revolution. And if he doesn't get what he wants, then he's going to take more than time. And Shivani says, yeah, but this is Sting's time. and Lance is like, aight then. And Jake says, bye, Stinger. And then Shivani's like, okay, we'll continue with the interview. And Sting says, later, Tony. And that's the end of it. I was like, okay.
That was weird.
I
Weird.
thought Lance was supposed to be a good guy now.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. He's back to like Murder Hog Monster mode, I guess. Now he's gonna be murdering everybody because he doesn't get what he wants. I don't know. I liked him as a face, honestly.
Like, I don't
He was better as a face, honestly.
like this didn't really piss me off, but I just was like, what were we supposed to get out of this? Especially like Sting at the end is like, okay, we're gonna keep going with the interview, and Sting's like, forget it, I'm out. I was like,
Peace. Lost my train of thought.
it's
I'm
like,
out of here.
okay.
I love Tony's how timid he was. It's like, but this is Sting's time. And it's like, okay.
And Lance was just like, oh, okay, sorry. See you guys later.
Excuse me.
And Jake's like, bye, Stinger. So good. So we've got Dasha in the back, and she's with QT and Lee Johnson, and she asks about QT leaving Dustin at the pay-per-view. And QT just says, I'm human. We're going to go out there, and Lee Johnson's going to get another W for the Nightmare family. So up next, we've got All Ego Ethan Page versus Big Shotty Lee Johnson. Your thoughts on this match?
This is a pretty good match, actually.
I've
read about Ethan.
You must have watched a different match than I did, because this match sucked.
Really?
This match, I thought this match absolutely stunk.
I thought it was fairly decent considering that they're young up-and-comers. I guess Ethan Page is supposed to be a pretty big star from Impact, right?
Yeah, so I know the name Ethan Page. I know he was from Impact Wrestling. I know he was in a tag team called The North. That's pretty much all I know about him. I've never seen him wrestle. I didn't even know what he looked like until this match, to be honest. But I am not even from before the match. I was already you know what? I'm done. I don't like this guy. I'm done with him. His name is All Ego Ethan Page, which is like calling yourself the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Or why don't you just name yourself Douchebag McVillain? Like, All Ego Ethan Page? Who the fuck calls themselves that? Like, right? Am I the only one? How stupid is this nickname? All Ego. You know, I'm not all badass. I'm not like the greatest man alive. I'm All Ego. Okay. And then they top it off by this cartoon 80s bad guy about him and the spotlight, and everybody's taking up his spotlight. I was like, are you serious? Like, what is this? This is so stupid, and this is lame. And then this match goes to picture-in-picture, like, okay. So, I guess you like it. but the crowd didn't seem to give a shit. So I don't really care
It seemed like
either.
there was audio issues though too.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why we couldn't really hear us.
there was
Yeah.
audio issues, but it didn't seem like the crowd really cared about this. So during the picture-in-picture, Ethan Page does a draping double arm DDT on the outside, by the way. He does a draping double arm DDT into a swinging neck breaker onto his knee. I was like,
That was pretty badass.
I guess they didn't know they're in commercial right now.
Yeah, unfortunately the best moves were in the picture-in-picture.
Yeah, because when they come back from the break, they're hugging each other on the mat. He's got like, he's kind of got like a reverse mount. Ethan Page's got like a reverse mount on Lee Johnson. Then they go back and forth with strikes. Lee tries to top rope something, but then Page just body slams him off the top and then hits a cutter for 2. Lee hurt his knee, and then Ethan beats him up. He hits a release Razor's Edge called the Ego's Edge for 3. I'm glad you liked it, but this sucked. I was not impressed with Ethan Page. I think this all ego thing really is really stupid. Like, I don't know.
This was not your favorite Dynamite, I can tell.
Well, this match was not. This was like, this did not and make me want to see more of Ethan Page, honestly.
Well, I get what you're saying. I mean, it was gonna be a mid-card match at best, so
It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
All ego. Oh my god. Can we? Well, I mean,
that's the second callback to the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants in 2 weeks.
Yeah, because it's the stupidest name in the entire world. You're naming yourselves the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. This is why they changed it, right? To just the Brotherhood of Mutants in the movies. It's like,
it's a brand. just trying to get ahead.
Yeah. So after the bell, in typical 80s cartoon bad guy fashion, he keeps kicking Lee Johnson. And then QT just stands there on the outside. And Dustin comes out for the save, and QT walks off. So I was more interested in QT than I was with Ethan Page or Lee Johnson.
I admit that. I'll admit that was one of the highlights of the night. QT was just sitting there like, huh? I mean, he wasn't really doing anything. Like, he just sat there and watched it happen. It was so weird. And then he walks away.
Yeah. So this next part was kind of weird, but I liked it. So Marvez teleports to the back, wherever Hangman is hanging out, and he's got new money. So he's got a new big old riding lawnmower, and he talks about what he bought. He bought some whiskey. I forget what else he bought. He donated a bunch to charity. And then the Dark Order come out and they're like, hey, is there any more room on the mower? And I thought initially Page was going to be like, no. But he's like, yeah, hop on. And so they all get on except for 5. Was it 5? So they were like, nah.
Yeah, they're like, always the one
they're like, nah, like you can't come on. So they drive off and 5 is like, so that's how it is. And then I was like, okay, that's fine. Anything else you want to say about this?
No, it's perfect though. I love to see Dark Order and Page getting along. It's funny little segments like that just make it all worthwhile,
Okay.
I really hope they get together soon.
Okay, so up next, it's story time. So let's go back all the way. Let's rewind time all the way back to 2004 and 2005. And myself was not really feeling WWE anymore. So I needed an alternative to pro wrestling. And there was no AEW back at that time. There was there was no streaming, so there was no Japanese wrestling. Not that I'm into that anyway. But there was one company out there that was an alternative to WWE, and it was called TNA, Total Nonstop Action. And they had stars such as AJ Styles, Samoan Joe, and Christopher Daniels, who were 3 of their best. And at this moment in time, I became a fan of TNA. And I watched TNA every week. But then, things started getting weird. They started bringing out guys like Kurt Angle, and then Christian, and then later on Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo, Ken Kennedy. Pretty much everybody who got fired or was released or quit WWE started showing up in TNA and becoming Scott Steiner. Started becoming, although I'm not going to say anything bad about Scott Steiner. He produced the math promo, which is the best thing ever. But anyway, so TNA just started bringing all these old WWE guys and started pushing them to the main event. They started winning all the championships. So then people like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, they were just, stuck in the X division, their cruiserweight division, so to speak. And so I stopped watching TNA because it just became WWE light. And that's a running joke to this day. What is so-and-so doing in the Impact Zone? Because somebody would get released or fired or leave WWE, and the next week they would be in the Impact Zone, and they would be in the main event all of a sudden. So, one of the things I didn't want about AEW was for them to become like TNA. And I talked about this many, many times before. I was down very much on Shawn Spears. Although, I gotta say, they didn't push Shawn Spears to the main event, so it was okay. And then, Sting came in. Well, he wasn't really like a WWE guy, but he was an old guy. I didn't want him to come to the main event. So I let it go. And he didn't. Sting is not in the main event. So I was like, okay, let it go. But now, as all of you heard, Christian Cage has signed on with AEW. One of the very people who kind of made me stop watching TNA. And before I talk about this, let me tell you something. If you think it's just because I don't like Christian, then you would be wrong. Because right here, I have my very own Captain Charisma Christian t-shirt, which I didn't wear tonight because it's been in storage for years and years, and it smells like crap. But, as you can see, there is no bigger Christian fan than myself. This is the only WWE shirt that I owned for at least 10 years. This is the only WWE shirt I had. This is the only wrestler I bought a shirt for was Christian. But we'll get into this next segment. Maybe it'll play into that. Maybe it won't.
Speaking of shirts, hold on. What are you wearing today?
I am wearing
another Japan shirt.
A New Japan Pro Wrestling Super Cup 2019 t-shirt, which was a present. And when I say present, this time I actually mean this was an actual present. This was actually a present from my good old buddy. And
Beachblaster X?
No, not Beachblaster X. Beachblaster Zero, the originator. The guy who actually showed me who the Beachblasters were in the first place. So shout out to you, Beachblaster Zero. I know you're watching. But yeah, he got me this shirt. He actually, he asked me if I wanted to go, but I chickened out and didn't go. But yeah.
So we got to rewind about 30 seconds into what you just said. Did you say this was an actual gift and all those other ones weren't actual gifts? Is that what you're alluding to?
No, they were all gifts.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Because that's not what you said.
But what are you wearing?
Oh, okay. Deflection, right?
What are you wearing? Why didn't you show this off during the Jon Moxley segment? Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Didn't want to take away from the segment.
Okay.
Mox is one of my many heroes. Him and all ego.
God. So anyway, let's get into what happens next. Shivani is out hyping up the greatest worker, the greatest tag team wrestler, the greatest singles wrestler, the greatest this of all time, Christian Cage. And I'm like, look, there's no bigger fan of Christian than me, but come on, man. Let's not pull punches here. He is not any of those things. He's very good. He's up there. But come on. Like, I don't know. But before anything happens, Kenny's music hits and the Sweeper Girls comes out. And so Shivani's like, what's going on? And JR's like, what's going on? And Excalibur's like, what's going on? And it's like, well, you're TNA, right? Or are you AEW? Because this is what TNA would always do. What's going on? Like they didn't have control of their own damn show or something. So Kenny is out there. He comes out with Callis and the Good Brothers. And then Callis says, well, you won't hear from the new signee because they call the shots around here. It's like obviously they do. It's like we take what we want and we take more. So we're taking time. So taking time, a big deal in AEW Dynamite this week. We've got Lance Archer taking time. Now we've got Don Callis taking time. It's like, okay. So Callis says that Kenny is the king of the death match, and it all went according to plan. And Kenny says, maybe not everything. And then Callis laughs. Oh, you're talking about the explosion not heard round the world. Ha ha ha. The fans wanted to see a big explosion, and they didn't get it. And it was because it was Callis and Omega. They are happy. They took away what the fans wanted. We made history. We took away Moxley's big moment to die a death as a hero. And we took away Eddie Kingston's big star-making performance. So, real good job of making Callis take all the blame here. I'll give him that. So, if the ring, they explain if the ring explodes, Moxley's gone, Eddie is maimed, and they win. But if it doesn't explode, we win even bigger because they look like a pair of idiots, and we walk around with this. And he touches the belt. And Kenny says he's getting goosebumps. He beat him, and the cherry on top is Eddie, his friend, to come out and dry hump you while the sparklers go off. So up until this point, everything's fine. Up until this point, everything's going great. So Eddie walks to the ring, and Callis said, hey, Eddie, you were an impact. You had talent. And he said you had it, but Callis fired him because he did the same thing he always does. When he's this close to success, he finds a way to screw it up, just like at Revolution when you laid on Moxley and we laughed. And this was your moment, and we laughed. And he gives Eddie 10 seconds before the Good Brothers kick his ass. And a countdown comes on the screen, just like at Revolution. And Kenny makes fun of this. He lies down and he tells Don to 69 him.
60.
Which was, okay. And Callis kind of does.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that TNT was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. So Kenny makes fun of it all. He asks Eddie what he hopes to accomplish by coming out here, and he goads him, and then Eddie plants him with a right hand, and then the Good Brothers jump Eddie, and Moxley comes out. So they're beating up the Good Brothers, and everything's going fine. So if it all ended here, this would have been fine. But then another countdown comes down. And it's Christian. And he walks out, and he slowly walks into the ring and gets in Kenny's face. And Kenny offers a handshake. But then Kenny tries a cheap shot. And Christian ducks. He counters, and he's about to put him in the kill switch. But then Callis pulls him out. And then Christian picks up the championship belt. So.
Oh.
TNA.
Let us hear it. Yeah.
I mean, it's only one night. We don't know for sure. But TNA is coming. In fact, TNA is already here because Callis is here. But Christian in the world title. Everybody, if you go look on the internet, everybody was saying, don't worry, Christian's not going to be in the world title picture. And yet here he is. Don't become TNA AEW. Just don't.
Yeah, I don't have anywhere near the collective memory you do of what happened in TNA 15 years ago, but I totally understand what you're saying because I read about that stuff afterwards, after we've talked at length about it over the years, and I get it that once everyone leaves the WWE for one reason or another, they end up landing in these promotions and get these pushes out of nowhere. And
to the top.
It just becomes, like you said, like WWE light. And imagine what that does to the psyche and, the attitude of everyone that's on your roster. It's like, what? This guy just came out of nowhere and he's going to be wrestling for the championship? What am I doing here?
Well, it's
just a domino effect. And it just takes away so much.
I mean, it's
everyone and everything.
It's the fans as well. Because what was AEW's tagline? They're the alternative, right? We're the alternative to WWE. We're pro wrestling. So we've got Kenny Omega, we've got Jon Moxley now, and we've got the Young Bucks, we've got Cody, but he was Stardust, whatever. We've got all these new guys, the guys that didn't make it to WWE, that didn't want to be in WWE, and then now we got Christian, who just shows up. So, like I said, I'm like, Christian is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I've got his shirt. I've saved his shirt for all of, this was a WWE shirt, so this was before 2005. So this shirt is probably like 16, 17 years old. I still have the shirt, but it's like, come on. It would be different if it wasn't Christian, because it's like Christian was the very guy that started all this. Him and Kurt Angle was the very start of when they just started bringing in all these old WWE guys. So it just feels like history is repeating itself, and I'm not a fan of that. And speaking of things I'm not a fan of, got the 6 women's tag match. And while I am a fan of 5 of the 6 wrestlers in this match, there's one of them.
I was gonna say, you're not a fan of women?
Don't even, man. You're gonna get me in trouble. You're gonna get me kicked off the internet. But 6 women's tag. So we've got Brit, we've got Maki Itoh, and we've got Nyla versus Shida, Ryo Mizunami, and Thunder Rosa. So Maki Itoh comes out. She's the best. They all brawl. Blah, blah, blah. It's a typical women's match. AEW doesn't treat them well, so they don't give them a lot. So there's not really a lot to talk about. In the end, typical fashion, Rebel tries to hit Thunder Rosa with a crutch, but she blocks it. And then she just hits Maki Itoh with a move, pins her, and that's it. Which doesn't make sense, because isn't Maki Itoh like the biggest shit now on the internet? I mean,
she's pretty big.
Everywhere you look. So there was 3 surprises on Revolution. There was Christian, there was Ethan Page, and there was Maki Itoh. And from everywhere you look on the internet, everyone pretty much says Maki Itoh was the one who got the biggest applause. She was the one that everybody was the most excited to see. But here she just gets dumped on her head and beaten by Thunder Rosa, who, if I'm not mistaken, is not an AEW wrestler. And yet she's the one featured the most in the AEW women's division. Yeah. So after the match, Brit attacks Thunder Rosa with the crutch, puts her in the lockjaw with no glove. Vicky Guerrero, for some reason, poses over Thunder Rosa too, while Rebel grinds the crutch in Thunder's face. What did you think of this match? I didn't even ask you. I just wanted to get it over with.
I could tell you wanted to get it over with. I know you love talking about Thunder Rosa. This was one of the instances where my power was out, so I did not see the match.
Oh, which is a disservice, because Thunder Rosa is actually a pretty good wrestler. She's a good wrestler. It's just the way they present her just really ticks me off.
I get it. And it's, for me, on top of that, it's really oversaturation, I guess. Because I don't really like her character. I don't really like when she cuts promos. And so the fact that she's out there every week, it's like, come on, this is a bit much, there's so many other women wrestlers, but yet she gets a huge amount of spotlight, and she's not even an AEW wrestler, which is insane. Insane. I mean, how many women's wrestlers are there that they haven't even featured for weeks, right? I mean, I can name about 4 or 5 off the top of my head who were contenders or, up there at one point, right? I know Anna Jay's hurt. I know Chris Stanlaner's hurt. But you got Big Swole, Tay Conti, Abaddon.
What about the champion? What about the fucking champion?
Well, I'm not. Other than
I'm just what I'm saying. Like, okay, but
the ones that haven't even showed up in the last a month on Dynamite. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, Thunder Rose is good enough. I just don't know why they present her and why they feature her so much. They're just really shoving her down our throats. It's like, okay. So, Matt Hardy is with Private Party, and he says he's gonna add to the Matt Hardy empire. And I was like, who the hell would they add to the Matt Hardy empire?
Jeff
And it
Hardy.
and it's the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. So I guess they're done with Eddie Kingston, and it's like, poor guys, poor Butcher, Blade, and Bunny. They're just like
thrown around.
just thrown around. Like, hey, yeah, we need some lackeys. You'll go with Eddie Kingston. Or you know what? Eddie Kingston's a good guy now. You'll just go with Matt Hardy. Like, talk about like an afterthought of an afterthought. I feel really bad for them.
Didn't they come on as MJF's enforcers originally? They did, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. They're just being kicked around like a bad habit, man.
Oh, okay. But here's where anything else you want to add about this?
No, I was just gonna say we'll see where this goes. I guess they're setting this up to be some kind of faction that feuds with the Dark Order now, according to Matt, because he still has a
Oh
beef
yeah,
with
he
the Dark
still doesn't
Order.
like the Dark Order. Yeah.
So I guess that storyline's not over.
Nope, it's not. So they really need some new storylines in AEW. Maybe we'll get some by the end of the night.
A little bit of foreshadowing there, huh?
Yeah,
I can tell.
Or at the end of this match, to be honest. So up next, this is when the show starts to get good again. Scropio Sky challenges Darby Allin for the AEW, well, not AEW, to TNT Championship. And what did you think of this one?
This was a great match. I know I said earlier the match of the night for me was the opener, but this one gives it a run for its money, like you were mentioning. It could have gone either way. I really like the way that this played out. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that at the end. But I think this is only like maybe Darby's like third or fourth defense, and he's had the belt for a long time.
I don't know. I haven't been keeping count, but yeah.
Cody was
every week,
every
right?
week. Yeah. He must have defended the belt like a dozen, maybe 20 times by the time it was over. But
it is.
I don't think Darby's defended it much. That's true.
So we've got the match starts off. Darbs goes for a fist bump at the start. Then they start off with some good old fashioned chain wrestling, but then Darby tweaks his ankle. And so this part is another nitpick bitch moment for me. The announcers talk about Scorpio being a veteran, so he's gonna see that Darby's ankle is tweaked and he's gonna exploit the ankle. So then what does Scorpio Sky do? He gives him a big old backbreaker, and we go to picture in picture. So
you didn't know those were connected? I mean, when I think of ankle, I think the back.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
So as we come back, JR notes, during the break, we got a sternum first into the turnbuckle a la Bret Hart. So he's basically telling us, this is how Bret Hart sold the move. This is pro wrestling and it is fake. Fuck you. This was another... I don't know why the hell he said this. This really pissed me off too. It probably wouldn't have pissed me off so much, but just a lot of things.
For
everything else coming. But like seriously, like he tells us that Darby hits. It was Darby, right? Hits Darby, the turnbuckle, like Bret Hart. The sternum first bump into the turnbuckle like Bret Hart. Like, are you just trying to tell us this is fake? Like, what are you trying to accomplish with that line?
Yeah.
I don't know. So, Darby hits a stunner for 2, Code Red for 2, and then Scorpio hits Darby with a nice big boot to the face. Then he hits the Rolling Germans that JR calls the Three Amigos. Wrong. And then Darby goes after the fingers, but Scorpio German suplex him into the turnbuckle. Darby tries a dive, but Scorpio counters into a cutter. Shivani says, I've never seen a counter like that before, except that we see it every week on Dynamite. Then Scorpio hits a brainbuster for 2. Darby goes for a coffin drop. Scorpio counters into a powerbomb for 2. And he goes for a TKO, but Darby counters into a small package and gets the flash pinfall for 3. Good match. I liked it. I like that flash 3 count. I like it when matches finish abruptly like that. I know a lot of people don't, but it's just kind of silly for the matches to always end with finishers.
On finishers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. That's a good point. I didn't have so much an issue with the ending. Honestly, full disclosure, I wanted Scorpio to win. I really think it's his. I really think it's his shot. It should be. He's had like 3 or 4 chances now. I think it feels like, and it feels like he's always coming up short. I feel bad for the
Yeah,
guy. He's a
so
great wrestler,
he took
great
on
character.
Jericho when Jericho had the world title, and then I know he lost one to Cody, right?
Cody, yeah. No, and he lost to. Did he lose to?
To
Did he lose to
Brody.
Brody?
I don't know if he lost to
No,
Brody. I'm pretty sure he lost to Cody though.
Cody. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
and then now
and
he's lost to Darby. So yeah,
yeah. It always seems like he's always bridesmaid, never a bride.
Yep.
Yeah. It was kind of odd though the follow up, which I'll let you get into.
Okay, so after the match, Scorpio attacks Darby, puts him in a heel hook. The ref comes out and breaks it up, and Scorpio looks at his hands and he asks, "What have I become?" But then he smiles because he likes it. So this didn't really bother me because it's Scorpio becoming a bad guy, whatever, it's fine. But these things always feel weird to me. It's like, why didn't you put him in a heel hook in the match and then you could have got a submission victory and you would be the TNT Championship? Right? Like, why didn't you do this move in the match? Like, you did this painful move that Darby couldn't escape and started screaming and I can't, I'm getting fucked up. And it's like, why didn't you do that in the match? It doesn't make sense. Right?
That's a good question. Maybe the switch was flipped after Darby hit him.
Yeah.
It was really odd because it looked like it was gonna end fine, and then Darby gave him the kind of the slap of respect, like, "Hey, that was a hell of a match," and then Scorpio just completely lost it after that.
Yeah, but
which
why
is
wouldn't you
weird.
do that heel hook in the match still? Like, that's
No. I understand what you're saying. I'm that doesn't bother me as much as the fact that I don't know. I don't like Scorpio
you
as
don't
a
like
heel,
Scorpio
man.
as a bad guy?
Nah, man. It just I don't know. If he was a bad guy, he should have won. Honestly, like if you're gonna go back to what you said about doing the heel hook to begin with, he should have been a heel before and won the match as a heel. He's gonna be a heel after he loses. That's gonna be the
Yeah.
undercurrent that pushes him over.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So yeah, I agree. I'd rather have Scorpio as a good guy, but we'll see where this goes. I mean, they do have a shortage of bad guys on the AEW roster. So
Shit. Why couldn't they just have 2 good guys, man?
Yeah.
Scorpio would be better as a good guy, but whatever. Yeah.
So next week, we've got the lineup for next week. It's what it's called, like St. Patty's Day Nightmare, or what the hell is it called?
Again, my power went out between
Oh,
the
okay.
end of this match and the beginning of the next segment, or
Okay.
actually the middle of the next segment. So
Okay, so we've got Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus the Good Brothers. We've got
Mm.
Cody versus Penta.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, we've got Jurassic Express and Bear Country versus Matt Hardy Party. And
Huh? Okay,
yeah,
I'm listening. Oh yeah.
And then we've got Jade in action, which I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually looking forward to watching Jade in action next week, because if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have been like, "Are you crazy?" But yeah, she did very well with the Shaq match last week, so looking forward to her in action. And in the main event, hopefully for the last effing time, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa in an unsanctioned lights out match. Hopefully they.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say hopefully for the last time, and then insert best friends versus Miro and
No.
Kip.
But yeah, so it's like, if you were Thunder Rosa and you're getting like double teamed, whacked with kendo sticks and lemonade stands, and I mean they're pretty much beating her ass and double teaming her and everything, right? Why would you agree to an unsanctioned lights out match where there's no DQ? I mean, I unless she's got backup, but I don't know if she has backup or not. But right?
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so the Inner Circle War Council is next. But before we get into that, another really nitpicky thing that really pissed me off. When they come back from break, Tony Schiavone notes, "Hey, did you notice Scropio Sky walked to the back through a different tunnel than the one he came out?" Hey, everybody, wrestling is fake as fuck, is what you're telling us, right?
Okay, what? Okay, see, my power was out during that. I don't understand why they would bring that up.
Yeah, why would
That
they
is
point that out?
yeah,
Like,
that
okay.
is so fucking dumb.
It's one of those like unspoken things that you just noticed, right? Hey, all the good guys come out of the right and all the bad guys come out of the left. Then it's like Scorpio walked into the bad guy tunnel. Did you notice? Wink, wink. Like, come on, people.
So that's so dumb. Like the people who would notice, who know wrestling, would know that, and the people who didn't, who were just like, let's say this is their first time tuning into AEW Dynamite, what the hell does that mean for them? They're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, he walked into a different tunnel. What does that mean? Like, they're not gonna figure it out. They're not gonna know, and it's just gonna make them just confused. So it was really dumb that he brought that up. Actually, now that you mention it, I mean, like you said, it was dumb, but there was like there was no reasoning or substance behind that line. That's weird. I don't know.
So, up next, the Inner Circle War Council. And if AEW ever needed a home run, now would be the time. And did they hit a home run? I ask you, did they hit a home run?
They hit a grand slam.
They hit a grand slam, huh? In the bottom
Yeah.
of the 23rd.
They did. 23 innings later,
Yeah.
that's what it took. But 4 runs came in, that's for sure.
So yeah, so I'm assuming that you were a fan of this closing segment of AEW Dynamite.
I was a big fan. I
Okay.
can't wait to get the shirt. ShopAEW.com.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So this is another nitpicky, irritating thing that always pisses me off, and I've been noting this for months, but I never brought it up because I was just like, okay, I'll let it go. But since I'm in total bitch fest mode tonight, I'm just gonna say it now. The Gun Club, who hates Chris Jericho, is always trying to slap Chris Jericho and yelling and getting in his face during the matches. Every time Judas plays, it's like they're stand at an Eminem concert, right? They're like having the time of their lives, singing it at the top of their lungs, going crazy. Can we stay consistent, please? Right? Did you notice this too? Am I wrong?
Again, my power was out for this part. Like I said, I was out. My power was out until the middle of this segment.
Oh God!
I believe you.
Then you gotta go. You gotta go back and watch this because
I didn't see the part with the Gun Club, but I did see the part that I missed from the beginning.
But have you ever noticed that when Judas is playing, the Gun Club is just like going ape shit? Oh God, singing Judas in my mind and everything, and it's just like. And then as soon as the match starts, it's like, F you, Jericho. Ah! It's like, okay.
I did. It's weird. Yeah. But, pro wrestling is fake. Did you notice that Scropio Sky went out a different tunnel than the one he came in from?
Yeah. So, we've got the Inner Circle War Council now. And Jericho comes out and he says, when any great army needs to change course, they have a war council. And the Inner Circle has been in decline, but they are the smartest in the business, and they need a new outlook, and maybe it's time to introduce a new member. But MJF interrupts, and he says, whoa, hold on, Chris. I don't think we need a new member. Maybe it's time we let someone go. And the music hits, and it's Sammy Guevara. And Jericho says, look who's here. I thought I never wanted to see or hear from you again. And Sammy says, I need you to see this, Chris. And Jericho says, yeah, you're dead to me. But Sammy says, no, I need you to see this, Chris. So they play on the video screen. Sammy has hidden a camera in the Inner Circle locker room. And they fast forward with MJF. I mean, not MJF, but Santana and Ortiz and Hager hanging out. And then MJF comes in and he starts talking to Santana and Ortiz and Hager. And he said, you know what? We should get rid of Jericho as the leader of the Inner Circle. We should give him a dirt nap. And Santana and Ortiz and Hager are like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And so Jericho in the ring, he looks shocked. And MJF says, well, Chris, I didn't want you to hear it this way, but get him, boys. And so Hager and Santana and Ortiz turn to Jericho and they start looking to make fisticuffs. And it looks like they're about to beat up Jericho, but then they turn around and they face MJF. And Jericho says, shut up, you stupid son of a bitch. He says, you really think we're that stupid? You think we don't talk to each other? And since I'm the one who brought you into the Inner Circle, I'm going to be the one to take you out. So on behalf of Jericho and the Inner Circle, your ass is fired. And MJF is pleading, no, no, no. It's not, I can explain. It's not how it is. And Jericho says, you know what? We're going to give you an old school Inner Circle beatdown. And the crowd chants beat down. So MJF pleads and he says, sorry, Chris. And he says, look, Chris, I never wanted to take over the Inner Circle because I was too busy building my own. And the lights go off. And the lights come back on. And FTR, Wardlow, Spears, and Tully Blanchard are in the ring. And then there's a big old brawl. And they, I think it was Cash or was it Dax? I think it was Cash who knocked a bottle over Hager's head. So that takes him out. And Spears kicks Sammy's face through a chair on the turnbuckle. That actually looked really cool.
Yeah.
FTR handcuffs Santana and Ortiz. No imagery there. Wardlow does a choke slam into a knee strike to the face of Chris Jericho. And Tully Blanchard spike power drivers Santana and Ortiz while FTR is holding them. And MJF is sitting on the top of the turnbuckle just staring at them. And then MJF clocks Jericho with a diamond ring. And Jericho obviously is going to be busted open. And Jericho reaches for the bat, but MJF steps on his foot. And Jericho tries to get up, but MJF murks him with the bat. And then they carry Jericho up the stage. And then Wardlow power bombs him off the stage through a table onto the concrete floor where you can literally see the crash pad and pillows fly up into the air. And that is the end of AEW Dynamite. So, a 10 out of 10. Just when you thought there was no new storylines in AEW, they go ahead and they give you this. So it looks like
5 stars. Yeah.
It looks like MJF has a new faction, and it's with FTR, Tully Blanchard, and Sean Spears. And I didn't go to Shop AEW, but did they name this new faction or?
Yeah, it looks like they're going by the New World Order.
Oh, okay.
No, they didn't name this new faction yet. Wouldn't that be awesome if
it's not New World Order? That actually would be a pretty good name, I think.
That actually would be pretty cool.
And they had like black and white letters.
Yeah, with a
small N and a big
a
W.
large, uppercase W and a small O.
That wouldn't be too bad. But your thoughts? What part did you jump in on?
So I jumped in right when the boys were about to beat up Jericho. So I missed a lot of context. I already saw Sammy was in the ring, so I knew something happened there. But I was like, okay. I definitely missed the beginning of this, the exposition. But even from then on, I was like, there's no way they're gonna beat up Jericho, right? There's no way they're gonna turn on him, right? They're gonna turn on MJF, and they did. So I was like, okay, awesome. And from then on, I was just expecting a beatdown of MJF, and a complete surprise when, I don't know what the outer square, and let's call him
the outer square.
The outer square comes out of nowhere and just takes it to the Inner Circle. That was a shock. That was awesome. That was great. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say other than that. That was so. I did end up watching before we went on air. I did end up watching the beginning where Sammy had the camera set up to prove to Jericho that MJF was plotting this all along. So, and all around, man, great swerve. Did not see that coming whatsoever. Yeah.
Nope.
And it makes sense. All these other events that have tied to it, like we've been talking about how Sean Spears has come back and he's with the FTR now. We were questioning, is this the new Four Horsemen? What's going on? Who's going to be the fourth member? I don't know if this is a new Four Horsemen or not, but it was all in the background being set up by MJF. He was the one pulling the strings behind these guys to make sure that he had his own faction ready to take out the Inner Circle.
Yeah. So I wasn't really bothered about this or anything, but looking back on it, I was thinking like, so what if like Hager and Santana or Ortiz just beat up Jericho? Like MJF would have been like, oh, okay, cool. Like we're the new Inner Circle.
You would have been like, hold on, guys. No.
Right?
Stop.
What if like Hager and Santana and Ortiz really did just betray Jericho? Like, what would he have like? And Sammy came out and was like, you know what? I don't like Chris Jericho. I'm gonna join you too. And it's like, oh shit! Now I've got two factions. Like that's awkward, but weird. But yeah, I mean, whatever. But it's pretty funny. But it was good. That actually saved Dynamite for me. Although there was a lot of good stuff. Scorpio and Darby and Matt Jackson and Phoenix were also very good. But a lot of stupid and irritating stuff in Dynamite.
I get it. I get your feelings. I'm really looking forward to this faction on faction battle, though. There's so many great storylines
Good
that can be
old
set up.
faction
You got
on faction battle. Oh my.
FTR versus Proud and Powerful. You got Hager versus Wardlow. I guess Shawn Spears versus Sammy, and obviously Chris versus MJF.
The match we've all been clamoring for: Shawn Spears versus Sammy
Guevara. He's got to fight somebody, right? Although Sammy versus MJF would be a nice rivalry too.
A setup to MJF and Jericho or something. He beats Sammy on the way to Jericho or something. Yeah, but it looks like I'm guessing the Inner Circle are going to be good guys now. Or
I was just telling my wife, who would have ever thought the Inner Circle would be good guys?
Yeah. What did she think about it?
She was shocked too. She's like, "Who? What? What's going on?" She was like, "What? They're working with MJF now?" It's like, looks like it. MJF is a sneaky, conniving, backstabbing bastard. What can you say?
Oh yeah,
he's the ultimate villain. Yeah, really good, really well done, and it makes sense why Wardlow wasn't in the ring with them.
Yeah,
I was like, "Where's Wardlow?" It's like,
it does.
Whatever, weird. Yeah.
Yep. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up? Then we've gone quite a long time, mostly because of my ranting.
No, I will say though that do you think they're building up Moxley and Kingston to be a tag team and maybe win the Impact Tag Team titles against the Good Brothers at some point?
Maybe. Maybe.
I don't know how you feel about that. But
it is what it is.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, is that it then? Anything else you want to say?
Sorry, one more thing. So I did read beforehand that there's going to be a title unification at Impact, and the winner of that is going to face Kenny Omega at the next pay-per-view for the title. AEW versus Impact title. So So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't think Christian can win the belt before then.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be it for us. Wherever you're watching this, I'm sure there's buttons that you can press that will enable you to be notified as to when we're on next. But until then, we will be back next week. So be good, stay safe, and we will see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Take care.